We all share this deeply human experience, don't we? You hear about tragic events happening around the world, conflicts, or even just, you know, personal stuff going wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. It hits you.
And it often triggers these immediate, really powerful emotions. You feel sad or angry, sometimes just completely overwhelmed or helpless.
That initial wave.
So the real challenge we're digging into today is, well, how do we actually respond to that kind of pain, that feeling of injustice, without just getting stuck in blaming or despair or just reacting all the time?
Is there another way?
Exactly. Is there a different path?
Well, that's really our mission for this deep dive. We're looking at how the sources we've studied, particularly one called Quranic wisdom, responding to suffering with spiritual insight, offer a really unique perspective.
Okay.
It's about consciousness, how we process suffering, and the source frames it using this idea of left versus right hemisphere thinking.
Interesting. Not literally brain science, but like
Yeah.
different modes of thinking.
Precisely. More like, one way being very analytical, focused on details, and the other being more big picture, more connected, holistic.
Got it.
And guiding us through this are two really central verses from the Quran, from Surah al-Baqarah, verses 2.156 and 2.157. They kind of lay out a blueprint for shifting how we process things.
Okay, so listeners should get ready. We're aiming to give you insights that are hopefully a bit of a shortcut to understanding something pretty complex.
Yeah, hopefully some aha moments.
Our goal is that by the end, you'll have a clearer sense of how to maybe manage all the information coming at you and perhaps find deeper meaning even when things seem, well, meaningless. So let's unpack this. When we first hear bad news about harm or injustice, what's that initial gut reaction typically like? What does the source say?
Well, the source talks about what it calls the left brain approach, or that left hemisphere reaction. It's pretty distinct.
Okay.
This way of thinking, it immediately wants clear causes. It needs to find an enemy. It's asking, who did this? Whose fault is it?
Right, the blame game. Exactly. And there's a strong drive for control, maybe even revenge. The questions become, how do we stop them? How do we punish them? And it tends to think in categories, very black and white. They are evil, we are good, that kind of thing.
Polarizing.
Very. And the response is often fueled by outrage, immediate anger, but the source suggests it can be a bit shallow, reactionary anyway.
Okay.
It focuses heavily on the material loss, the politics, the sort of logical fallout of events.
And the source is careful to say this isn't wrong, necessarily.
No, exactly.
Right.
It emphasizes that. It's natural, maybe even protective sometimes.
Yeah.
But, and this is the key point, it's limited.
Limited. How so? Where does it fall short?
Well, it's natural. It often doesn't actually bring healing, or real perspective. And crucially, the source says it can get us trapped in loops of blame and pain without deeper meaning.
So you just spin your wheels in the anger or the grief?
Pretty much, you focus so much on the immediate what and who that you can't see a way forward beyond that reaction. That feels like a really crucial turning point then. If that's the default, limited way,
Yeah.
what's the alternative the Quranic view presents?
Yeah, this is where it gets fascinating. The Quranic worldview offers a really different path, and it aligns beautifully with what the source calls the right brain approach or right hemisphere response.
Okay.
This view encourages seeing the bigger picture, responding from, let's say, the heart, from spiritual insight.
And how does it do that? Is there a core idea?
Yes. It introduces this pivotal Quranic statement from Surah al-Baqarah, verse 156, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun, which means, truly we belong to God, and truly to Him we shall return.
We belong to God, and to Him we shall return. That's simple, but profound. How does the source say that reframes things?
Well, it's powerful because it instantly shifts the focus. Instead of just looking outward, who's the enemy, who's to blame, it turns our attention inward, or maybe upward, towards our connection with God.
Okay.
It helps us start to accept that suffering, as awful as it is, might be part of a larger, maybe divine story.
So it doesn't erase the pain.
Not at all. It invites emotional honesty. You can still feel grief, sadness, anger even, but it encourages doing so without losing sight of that bigger picture.
So it's like connecting to something lasting rather than just the immediate temporary anger.
Exactly. It anchors our reaction in things like humility, trust, meaning. It helps us, as the source puts it, process pain with purpose, not just, vent.
You could almost call it right hemisphere wisdom then, seeing life as interconnected, spiritual,
Yeah.
meaningful, even when it's incredibly hard to understand or fix.
That's a great way to put it. And the Quran, in this view, acts like a gentle guide. It sort of pulls us out of those left brain loops, the blame, the anger, the reactivity,
Hmm.
and steers us towards these deeper right brain truths. It's a reorientation.
A recalibration. The source has some really stark comparisons that illustrate this, right?
Yes.
Like the left brain might be screaming, this is totally unfair.
Right. And the right brain, guided by the Quran, responds, this world is a test. Remember the return to God.
Or the left brain thinks, I hate them.
And the Quranic lens suggests God sees everything. Be patient. It's about elevating the response, not just reacting.
And instead of, how could this possibly happen?
The response becomes, everything belongs to him, including us. That core message from 2.156 again.
And when that urge hits, we must react. Do something now.
The reminder is we must stay guided, even in our grief. Don't lose your compass.
So what does this really mean for you, listening right now? It's about seeing how these two mindsets can shape your whole emotional and spiritual experience, how you move through the world.
And the outcome of choosing that more spiritually grounded path, it's pretty profound. And it's right there in the next verse, 2.157.
Okay, what does that say?
It basically says that those who respond this way, not just with raw emotion, but spiritually, with trust in God, remembering the return, connecting to divine meaning, those are the ones who are truly guided.
Truly guided.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it continues. Those are the ones upon whom are blessings from their Lord and mercy.
Blessings and mercy. So it's not about ignoring the injustice.
Not at all. It's not about becoming passive. Instead, the source says this perspective grounds us so we don't lose our humanity, wisdom, or connection to God in the middle of chaos.
So you can still act, but from a different place.
Exactly. Action rooted in purpose and understanding rather than just raw, maybe destructive reaction.
Now, this is where it gets really practical, I think. The source shows how this reframing isn't just for, huge global events. It applies to all sorts of life situations.
Absolutely. It's very applicable.
Like, take losing someone or any personal tragedy. The left brain instantly goes to why? Whose fault is this? Right.
That's the default. But that Quranic reframing, we belong to God and to him we return, 2.156, it invites you to focus on trust in that ultimate return, finding solace in the bigger picture, not just getting lost in the why of the event itself.
Or what about feeling totally defeated, overwhelmed by a situation? Your left brain might just say, it's hopeless, they're too powerful.
Yeah, despair kicks in. But then you have Surah 3, verse 139, offering this counter. Do not lose heart or despair. You will be superior if you are true believers. It ties your inner state, your faith, to the outcome. It offers agency.
That's powerful. And seeking justice. The impulse might be, I'll expose them, take them down.
That fiery left brain drive. But then Surah 5, verse 8 brings in this crucial check. And let not the hatred of a people cause you to be unjust.
Wow. So even when you feel wronged, you have to stay fair.
Exactly. Uphold principles even when your emotions are screaming otherwise. Don't let hatred make you unjust.
And even for really personal things like messing up, feeling regret, the left brain can be brutal. I ruined everything. I'm worthless.
Oh yeah, that inner critic. But Surah 39, verse 53 offers such comfort. Do not despair of God's mercy. Indeed, he forgives all sins. It allows for humility, but also hope. A path to forgiveness, not just self-condemnation.
In one word, this is a tough one, seeing injustice that seems to go unpunished. The left brain cries out, why isn't God doing anything?
It's a natural question, isn't it? But Surah 14, verse 42, offers that longer perspective. And never think that God is unaware of what the wrongdoers do. He only gives them respite for a day when eyes will stare in horror. It asks for patience, trust in a divine timeline we might not see.
So it really covers a lot of ground. This raises a key question then. If we boil it down, what really marks the difference between these two mindsets? Could you just summarize that?
Sure. Let's look at that left brain mode first, the sort of default human reaction. It's focus. Immediate cause, blame, logic, control.
Right.
The dominant emotions tend to be anger, frustration, maybe fear. The underlying thought is often, this shouldn't be happening, or who's responsible?
Reactive.
Very reactive. The energy is short-term, often disconnected from any deeper sense of meaning. And the source warns if that's all you have, it can lead to burnout, hatred, despair, or even just checking out, cold detachment.
Okay, so that's the left brain default. What about the right brain, the Quranic response?
That one centers its focus differently. It's about connection to God, understanding things in the context of the unseen, the spiritual realm. There's a cultivation of trust in divine will.
And the emotions.
The emotions are still there, sorrow, even anger, but they're tempered. Sorrow with patience, anger with purpose, and deep compassion.
And the mindset.
The mindset shifts to something like, okay, this life is temporary. How am I being called to respond meaningfully here? The energy it fosters is more grounded, it's long-term, it's spiritually aware.
That contrast is pretty stark when you lay it out like that.
It really is.
And that's really the core value of this deep dive, isn't it? Just understanding these two potential paths for processing suffering and seeing how the Quran offers this really robust framework for cultivating the second one, the more grounded, spiritually aware response.
Moving beyond just reacting.
Exactly. Moving beyond reactivity to something deeper, more sustainable, maybe even more truly human in the best sense. So as we wrap up, here's something for you, the listener, to think about. Knowing about these two ways of processing the immediate blame-focused reaction versus the meaning-focused, God-connected response. How might this change the way you approach things?
Yeah, how might it shift things?
When you hear disheartening news next time, or face a conflict, or even just a personal setback, think about it. Could understanding this distinction between, let's call it left brain reactivity and right brain Quranic wisdom help you find more purpose, more patience when things feel chaotic or unjust? Something to definitely reflect on.